Hey everybody, it's me, DeoGenZ, here with another edition of Pokemon Potential. If you want to find out how to win a shiny in your upcoming versions of Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire, or even in just X and Y, then stay tuned to the end of the episode. But first, we need to discuss a terrifying bug poke that tormented Ash since his early days of being a trainer. It is Beedrill. And what you would think, as depicted in the anime, it would be super deadly, it's really easy to strike down, and it's why you'll only see it in the lower tiers. Here's why. Take a look at those defensive base stats. Yeah, not so spectacular. It could take a little bit more brute force from a special attack, but there's no guarantees, and the reason there's no guarantees is you should absolutely use Beedrill first. Use Beedrill as a support sacrifice for your team if you're messing around in the lower tiers. Say you don't need 6 slots of pokes to be around in this lower tier. You've got your base of 5, and all you want to do is make them speedier. Well, thankfully, Beedrill has a move called Tailwind that does exactly that for 4 turns. Toxic Spikes makes it so that any pokes that come out that are not steel or poison or having levitation or flying type, well, I guess that's a lot when you come to think of it, who will avoid those spikes. If they can't, they will get poisoned themselves, and like toxicity, it will get worse each turn that they are out for. U-turn is if somehow you manage to survive, somehow, and you might be able to pull off another endeavor, that's when you would use U-turn. But those opportunities are rare, just based on how frail and fragile this bee Pokemon really is. I mean, it makes sense. It's an insect, you know. Bugs, in my experience, are very easy to squish. And so that's why, on the effort value side of things, you need to make sure you max out those speed EVs. Otherwise, anything faster will get the jump on you, and your entire strategy with this poke will be naught. Will be for naught. Now, the reason you may actually live for another turn, and of course max out the physical effort value since that's what you're going to strike your opponent with, but the reason you may outlive on the first turn is because your opponent too is trying to set up arena traps like stealth rocks and spikes, other things of that nature, so you may have an opportunity to set something up, maybe even set up twice, then use your endeavor to get your opponent right down to where Beedrill will be, and that's why the other vital part of this set that you must be sure you attach is the item Focus Sash. Focus Sash will assure that one-hit KO will be excluded, and you'll be able to hang on as if you were using an Endure move, but without taking a turn to use that move. See, that's the fun about items I really didn't think about until more or less starting this and the other Pokemon of the Week series, is that it's almost as if it's a secondary move for your Pokemon to use, your item and ability, in tandem, depending on what they are. And it's just interesting because every turn counts, especially in metagame. You cannot spend tons of turns setting up multiple layers of toxic spikes. There's just no need for it. Now, when it comes to Beedrill's ability, it's got some limited things to work with. Swarm, pretty standard on most bug pokes, and Sniper. Now, Sniper, the reason I say it's kind of limited is that it just almost doesn't make sense on this poke, simply because it's so frail, and simply because it's not going to be making too many critical hits. But what it does is it increases the power of critical hits from 150% to 225, I believe? Like, something crazy. So that is just a dead knockout if you can land a critical hit, and that's why I put in the other options Drill Run, because it was the only move I saw Beedrill have that had a high critical hit ratio. So it's sort of like the Night Slash, it tends to hit more critical hits than other moves. But unless I just breezed over it and didn't notice, I didn't see Beedrill having access to Night Slash. But not like it really would have mattered because, like I said, the frailty of this poke makes replacing any of the moves that are in its main moveset sort of silly to do, so maybe just run a Drill Run to surprise your opponents, but you can't depend on random critical hits to win you a victory every time. It's just not a sensible strategy. So let me know below, have you battled with this beastly bug before? It looks so terrifying in the anime, and then when it comes to metagame, it's easily defeated. But hey, it's one of the first pokes you can get in the game when it comes to red, blue, and yellow, so it would not really make sense if it was an overhauled Beastamon like the dragons that we go over in these series. And oh, speaking of dragons, somebody walked away with a shiny Dratini last 10th episode of this series. So the way that they did that is by sharing every single one of these episodes of Pokemon Potential, and you can do the same, because each share gets you another entry into the random drawing that is my shiny giveaway. So keep on sharing it with your social networks, comrades, and I will see you in the coming weeks.